first set of arms. This is not true. I've done 3 different exercises for triceps. I didn't record them. 2 sets each. I did 2 sets of warm-ups for single arms, and then heavy push-downs, and then heavy overheads. But now, got me some just heavy dumbbell curls. Probably do 3 sets of this, and then 3 sets of maybe an isolated bicep curl, and then that'll be good for arm day. We'll see how this set goes. Yep. Ooh, good for a set of bicep curls. Curls have not felt that good in probably, I don't know, 6 weeks maybe. That was a good set of bicep curls with the 50s too. Nothing special about it. Literally just bicep curls. One of the best workouts you could do for the biceps, to be quite honest with you. Just regular old bicep curls. That's all they are. I appreciate this workout. So simple, so easy, yet so effective. On to set 2. I said, fuck it, we're just going straight to the pose down now. You know, honestly, the arms feel fantastic after today, and look, it never shows up on camera, but the veins are still there, right? The veins are still looking good. I mean, my arms are kind of juiced. It's hard to put my arm behind my back for the side try right now. That's how fucking juiced the arm is feeling. The arm is feeling juiced. I mean, I got veins coming down my arms. I don't even know if it's visible on camera like that, but. We're a double by. I mean, the arms feel juicy. I know I've said that 20 times already, but honestly, good pose down, good pose down. The arms just look thicker right now. The pump is just much more visible, I think. On the bulk, the pump just looks more visible, you know what I'm saying? The arms just have more volume to them, and that goes for every muscle group, you know? It just all has more volume in it, and it lasts longer than on the cut, you know? Which is nice, because I walked into the gym really wanting to throw up. My stomach was super full. I actually had, after I drank my pre-workout, I was like on the verge of throwing up, so I had to wait in my truck for about, I don't know, 10 minutes, just trying to settle my stomach down before I walked in here and did some good sets. I didn't capture any of the triceps, my bad, and I didn't capture anything but the 1 bicep set of the bicep curls, but as you guys can see, we're having good effects right now. My arms are already bigger than they were, you know, a week ago when I did arms, right? So the arm, and that's just due to like a really good pump. You know what I'm saying? Like, the pump lasts longer, it's more fulfilling, and I don't feel like I'm like fighting waves of lack of energy and sleepiness, you know what I'm saying? So I really just wanted to get this pump check before I went and did cardio, because I've been doing pump checks like before I changed for work, which isn't a huge deal because I don't do cardio on work days, because my job includes a lot of cardio. I get anywhere between 15 to 30,000 steps a day. Like, I literally don't sit down for my job ever. So you know, it's easier to get a pump check at that point because I don't do cardio, but I'm about to go do a 30-minute cardio session. Yes, even on a bulk, you got to do cardio. I'm about to go do a 30-minute bike session and then get up out of here. But decent workout today. The arms are feeling juicy, you know what I'm saying? And we'll have a little chat after I get done with my cardio session. I'm not going to film the cardio session, obviously. It's going to be me riding a bike for 30 minutes, but I got a topic that I've been wanting to talk about for a minute. It's a topic that I talk about with my friend. When we initially brought this topic up, when we had started our prep for our bodybuilding show. He didn't end up doing the same show as me, but yeah, it's going to be a topic that I'm going to talk about later. So I'll see you guys then. All right. So check it out. This is the setting for this portion of the video right here. I went and got me some beautiful old Chipotle, okay? Obviously, in my opinion, let me scoot forward. In my opinion, Chipotle is one of the, I would say, most diet-friendly places when it comes to cutting or bulking, honestly. The prices are a little insane, I guess you could say. I don't know. Prices have gone up everywhere, so. I got a chicken and a steak bowl here because I didn't want to get double steak, but also I didn't just want chicken. I don't know what it is about Chipotle. The regular chicken just doesn't really do it for me. I'm more of like a steak and carne asada guy, but really I'm more of an al pastor guy because al pastor is cheaper than steak and carne asada. But al pastor is gone for now, so no chance of getting al pastor today, so we just went with the steak and chicken bowl. And I have a bigger bowl, hopefully, that I'm going to fit everything into, make it easier to mix up in. But like I said, I think that Chipotle is pretty friendly when it comes to dieting. See, I thought this was a bigger bowl, but it's looking a little similar size now that it's got everything in it. Jesus, I didn't realize how big a Chipotle bowl was. Anyways, yeah, it's friendly because you can choose what goes on each. And this was actually the meal that we ate before our finals, like between prejudging and finals. This was the meal that we ate as a team for our bodybuilding show. And very delicious. It was an awesome meal to have. So technically the first meal that I had on Saturday wasn't In-N-Out, but like after the whole competition, the first meal that I had was In-N-Out. But the first like big meal that I had after prejudging, after the main portion of posing was done, where we were being compared against other people in our class, I had some Chipotle. So anyways, like I said, very friendly because you can choose what goes on your bowl or burrito. And you can decide whether or not you want to get sour cream and cheese. You know, if you're on a bulk, then those things can be beneficial. Or if you're on a cut, maybe you don't want to get sour cream and cheese, you know. I mean, you can, you definitely can. I'm not saying you shouldn't or you couldn't, but, you know, those are heavy fat items. So, like if I was on a cut and I was eating Chipotle, I didn't eat Chipotle my entire cut. But if I were to get Chipotle on a cut, I would suggest, you know, double up on the protein, maybe half scoop of rice. If you're on keto, you probably have to go no rice. But double up on the protein, get veggies, probably some corn. And then if you want to get light cheese, you can double up on the lettuce and some pico. And that's probably where I would go if I were on a cut, you know. But on a bulk, frees you up to get some more things. And that kind of leads us into our next point of conversation that I said I wanted to talk about. So essentially, one of the conversations that I had with my friend, my buddy Jason, was we were on our way to posing one time, and I was like, what do you think is harder, cutting or bulking? You know? Because we always drove by these places like Popeyes and this one Indian buffet food that we like always wanted to go inside because we were cutting. You know, we had the cravings. Yep. Perfect Chipotle bowl right here. Hang on, let me get a couple bites in really quick. I don't know what I just bit that was crunchy. That was weird. It wasn't crunchy like a veggie, it was like a chip crunchy. I mean, for me, in a Chipotle bowl, the hot sauce makes it. I love getting their hot sauce. It is probably the favorite portion of a Chipotle bowl. I've had it without it, and it just wasn't as good, you know? So for me, the hot sauce really makes it. But this bowl right here, I'll go with a solid, there's a lot going on in this bowl, and I made it that way, you know what I'm saying? So I'll probably go with a solid 7.5 on this. It's a good bowl. It's a good bowl. Nothing necessarily blowing me out of the water on this, but it's a good bowl. See, it's hard to rate something like Chipotle when it's not pre-made. Because if I don't like it, it's possibly due to the fact that I made it, you know? So, honestly, this could be an 8. I like the way that the cilantro is coming through on the lime rice, so 8. Probably 8. As we go through, we'll probably go up to 8.5, but... Anyways, forget the rating. That's not the purpose of this. Like I said, I asked him, what do you think's harder, cutting or bulking? And he said, well, maybe bulking, because you have to force feed yourself at some point when you're bulking. If you're doing a bulk correctly, at some point you're gonna be full and you're gonna have to eat more. Okay. But when you're cutting, you have to limit what you eat. So if you're hungry, you can't eat, even if you are hungry. That's the tough part, right? And being able to compare the two so closely right now. Now, I didn't necessarily want to dive right into just being full all the time. I think I just spit somewhere. I didn't want to dive into being full immediately after my cut. That was not the idea. That was not the purpose. And as I get my diet more reined in, over the weekend, I'm going to have to put like an actual diet plan together. And so I can start tracking my macros. Instead of just kind of like eating when I feel hungry. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with eating when you feel hungry. But I want to get the macros reined in, make sure that we're getting enough protein in there and the correct amount of carbs and fats. But seeing as I have gone from being hungry to being very full for most of the day in a short period of time, I can kind of compare the two, and it's led me to the conclusion that they both suck, okay? Like, at the end of the day, and I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining about a cut or a bulk. That's not what I'm doing. They each have their pros and cons, is what I will say. So on a cut, me, myself, I didn't really suffer from hunger too much. Like, I wasn't like, oh, I have hunger pains, you know? And that's a good thing, that I wasn't having hunger pains. You don't want to have hunger pains on a cut. But I was more suffering from cravings. Like, I would watch a lot of food videos, a lot of baking videos, a lot of food making videos, all of those things. I suffered from a lot of cravings when I was cutting. Whereas on the bulk, I am suffering just from indulging in cravings, you know? Like, I see a little donut, I'm like, I'll take a bite of that, you know what I'm saying? Some cereal, nothing wrong with cereal on a bulk as long as you macro it out and you can make it fit. But me, I was just like, big ass bowl of cereal. Why not? You know what I'm saying? But also, I am still getting like my eggs and my grits in. So things that I was eating on the cut that I know are decent macro-wise, I'm making sure that I get those in as well. So I am just full more of the time, and I don't enjoy the feeling of being so full that I'm going to be sick. Like I mentioned earlier, when I got to the gym, I had to sit in my truck for 10 minutes because after drinking my pre-workout, I felt like I was going to throw up. And I don't think that's going to be the case for most of the bulk once I get the diet plan reined in and I stop indulging in the sweet treats and whatnot. Because right now, I just have sweet treats laying around from the cut, because I would go to the store and get groceries, and like I've told you guys before, I would buy a piece of candy while I was there, not to eat on the cut, but to save for when I was on the bulk, when I could have it. And now I'm paying the repercussions of that, because now I'm just full most of the time, you know what I'm saying? So, they both have their ups and downs, and I think if you do both of them correctly, neither of them really stick out as a clear winner in which one is harder, you know? They each have their ups and downs. Like on a bulk, you can eat, you can indulge, you can use a little bit more butter here, and you could possibly get some more flavor in your food. But you can do it on a cut as well. You can get more flavor in your food on a cut as well. In prep for a bodybuilding show, a little bit more difficult because usually when you make a meal that's, you know, 70 grams of protein and 500 calories, that's fine and dandy. But right there for me, if I eat 6 meals a day, that would be at least 2 meals put into one, you know? So that makes it a little bit more difficult when I think about making some of those meals, is because there is some extra stuff in there that can kind of take away from the macros in other meals. So you kind of have to combine 2 meals into one, and then you have to spread that meal out a little bit further in timing wise. But I think that they're both unique in their own way between a cut and a bulk, you know? And it depends on where you are in a cut. If you're just trying to lose weight and you're not necessarily preparing for a show, then maybe a cut is a little bit easier, especially if you're doing it for a short period of time, you know? But that can be same for this, said the same for a bulk, you know? If you're just bulking because you want to put on more muscle mass, but you don't really have the intent of competing in a bodybuilding show, so you're not pushing yourself to the limit, then a bulk really isn't that difficult compared to the cut either. If you're a foodie, then a cut can be a bit difficult. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if I would consider myself a foodie, but I love food. So does that make me a foodie? Maybe. So, you know, like a cut is difficult just because I get more cravings than I do get hungry, you know? No hunger pains or anything like that. Just lots of cravings. So seeing all these fast food joints and whatnot, tough, you know? There was one night that I went to a UFC watch party and they had pizza, they had pulled pork, they had a bunch of different desserts there, and I had to bring my ground turkey and my tuna in 2 different containers, and that's what I ate for the night that I was there, you know? You got me. So that night was especially difficult for me because they were all foods that I loved, all of them. And I was already about 4 or 5 weeks into the prep at this point. And I had a short prep. I had a 10 to 12 week prep. So I was halfway through my prep. So, I had my teeth. There we go. So that night was especially difficult for me because the cravings were at an all-time high. I stayed strong. I didn't have a single bite or a nibble of anything that I was craving at that UFC watch party. But that night was probably one of the most difficult times that I had on prep because I went to bed thinking, damn, this is tough, man. Like, this is tough. One of those things where I was like, I just spent the entire night not enjoying any food that I want. You know, this is tough. The usual, like, is this worth it type thing, you know? And I think everybody's gonna have that. No matter how much you love the sport that you're doing, I think there's gonna come a time and a point where you think to yourself, you know, is what I'm going through worth it? And the answer is 99.9% of the time, if you love that sport and you love what you're doing, then yes, absolutely it's worth it. Whatever pain you're putting yourself through, if it's, as long as it's not actually causing you physical pain that is damaging your body to the point of no return, and I'm not talking about lifting in the gym where you're damaging your muscles to rebuild them, you know? I'm talking about significant damage that is like bad for you. Then 99% of the time, you're in the right. You know what I'm saying? As long as you're not going to that point or extreme. But even if you love that sport, you know, there's people that use enhancing drugs or whatever, and they have bigger goals and aspirations, physically and literally, you know? So at that point, they see that as a means to an end for them, you know? So that is an outlier portion of it, if you ask me. But they love the sport and what they're doing so much that they're willing to do that, you know? So, you know, there's going to be nights on the bulk, I think, where it's 11:30 p.m. and I still have to get 500, 600 calories in and I'm already full to the brim, you know? And I'm going to be sitting there thinking, is it worth it? You know, should I be doing this, right? Because I've already hit an upper limit of like food by 9 in the morning, you know? Because I wake up and I'm just like craving something, you know? So I'll have a couple bites of this, couple bites of that, Pop-Tart here, donut here, you know? And then I'll go on and eat my eggs and grits. And at that point, I am full, you know? But breakfast is kind of my largest meal of the day right now. I eat so much for breakfast, and then I eat one lunch at work, and then I eat one dinner when I get home. So like, breakfast kind of carries the bulk of the calories, plus my job is very physical. So I think that is aiding me and not gaining 20 pounds off the bat. I weighed myself yesterday morning, and I was at 183. So from competition weight, when I got weighed in at check-ins, I was 178.4, but I had my phone, my keys, and my wallet in my pockets. So was I really 178? Probably not. I was probably around like 176, 175 at check-ins. So I am heavier than my check-in weight, but I haven't shot up 20 pounds yet, which is a benefit. So I'm just yapping at this point, and I want to eat this Chipotle bowl. So what's harder, a bulk or a cut? Neither. They both have their ups and downs, and they're both going to push somebody to their limits, especially if they're pushing to achieve an end goal. You know, if you're cutting to achieve an end goal for your body for a bodybuilding competition or something or the other like that, you're going to be pushed to your limit, and you're going to think, damn, is this worth it? Am I doing something that is worth it to me? Should I continue doing this? You're going to be pushed to that point. Same thing with the bulk. If you're pushing the bulk to the limits because you're trying to put on lean muscle mass and you're getting deep into the bulk where you're at your higher end amount of calories, you know, you're going to be put to the point of where you're like, I am sick to my stomach. I don't enjoy this feeling. Should I be doing this? Should I continue eating? And at that point, you know, the answer is probably yes. Same thing with the cut. You're gonna reach those points on both ends, and they're both pretty difficult to push through, and there's walls on each side that you're gonna have to knock down. So there's no real definitive answer, in my opinion, which one is harder. Unless you're addicted to food and you're a foodie, you know, I have a lot of sugary cravings and things like that. Maybe an addiction to sugar, who knows? That was my low point when it comes to cutting, but it's also my low point when it comes to bulking, because I indulge in those now because I can go over my calorie limit, you know what I'm saying? Not in a good way. I don't recommend doing that as part of your bulk. That's dirty bulking, and you're not really putting on lean muscle mass when you're doing that. And there's gonna be a lot of adipose fat that you're adding on to the body when you're bulking like that, where you're indulging a lot of cookies and donuts. That is not the idea of my bulk. Once I get it reined in, I am definitely going to cut back on the sweet treats and whatnot, you know? I'll probably have them every now and then, but I'll probably knock out another portion of one of my meals so I can fit the macros in, so I'm not going excessively over where I want to on a bulk at a certain point in time. Like I said, downfall on the cut, sweet treats because I got the cravings. Never ate them, just really, really craved them. On the bulk, I can indulge in them, and now they make me feel sick because I spent so long not eating them that my body is kind of like when I have like 3 cookies, I'm like, oh, my tummy hurts, you know? Whereas beforehand, a year ago, I could eat lots of cookies and be perfectly fine. So, you know, introducing the lots of processed sugars like that back into my body, kind of hard to deal with. But for me personally, they both have their ups and downs, and no one way is truly harder than the other. Maybe one leans one way. Maybe a cut is a little bit harder because you have to do it for so long to attain a leanness for a show that makes it super difficult. You know, it's the length you have to go through, that sort of thing where you're not able to indulge in whatever you want. But there's also downsides in the bulk as well. I'm hoping I can revisit this topic a little bit later when I'm deeper into the bulk and I'm possibly, you know, heavy breathing every chance I get because my stomach is so full. But we'll see when that happens, if that even happens. Other than that, guys, I appreciate you guys for watching, and I hope to see you guys next time.